gates are closing. Sitting great together one last time. Now I need to push back. Always keep it right out on the line. Now I don't even know where it starts and I begin. Oh no, man. It's all inside. Yeah, it's all inside. And how hard I've tried to give it to you. It's a long goodbye, but I guess it's time to go. I'm so sorry, child. Now that you love to rock and roll, so fucking close now. Sweet taste of victory like sugar on my lips, yeah. But when I tried to swallow, I choked on all my dreams and lay there cold and stripped, yeah. It's all inside. Yeah, it's all inside. And how hard I've tried to give it to you. It's a long goodbye, but I guess it's time to go. I'm so sorry, child. Now you love to rock and roll. It's a long goodbye, but I guess it's time to go. I'm so sorry, child. Now you love to rock and roll. In the middle of it all, you always would.
Welcome. 7 sets of eyeballs. We got Megatron gets it right again. Old Davy Vane. Kind of an obscure metal band from the 80s. But they came out with that one, 10 years ago. And I thought it was pretty great. Steven from Arizona. Good to see you. BJ. Pedro is back. Good to see Pedro Valentin. Greetings from Connecticut. Remember spelling that back in the day in grade school in Massachusetts and Mississippi. MISSISSSIPPI. Certain things you remember from grade school in the United States. JW's back. Good to see you, brother. Jedi Dark Force. All righty. This is a very important topic because many men have experienced toxic kids. Toxic kids. I can name multiple huge creators in this space. You know their names, who have no relationships with their kids. Typically, a lot of it has to do with daughters and men. Probably 80% of the guys I know that I've done collabs with and that are huge creators have had issues with their adult daughters. Some with their adult boys. And it's very difficult for a father because we are biologically wired differently to protect and provide. And so when we have that toxic disrespect from our children, it doesn't sit well. So how do we deal with it? Let's get into it. Blue Creek is back. My spelling is impeccable. Oh, I don't know about that. Pedro, JW, dealing with this shit currently. You know it. I'm telling you, this is how we deal with it. And people might not like my response. Now, let me give you my story. Dan Patrick, good to see you. Glad you are back. Enoch is back. Good to see you. Pugnietti. So, my story is this. I have a mid-20s daughter, firstborn, who I was in love with when she was born. I loved that. Boy, it changed my life. But by the time she began to menstruate and become into a young woman, things changed. And most men will find out that this is very common. When they hit puberty, and same with boys and their mothers around puberty, if there's a father in the house. Vegas says, estrogen. There you go, brother. And by that time, I saw a shift. And it was like mother and daughter were becoming an alliance, and which is fine. Okay. She was becoming more disrespectful to her father. She was not following rules that we had set up, and her mother would not enforce those rules. Unfortunately, that seems to be a very common theme now. Mothers become best friends with their kids. Anyhow, by the age of around probably 14, so the last probably 11 to 12 years, I haven't had a relationship, a fatherly relationship, because I was kind of kicked out. Now, people could say, oh, Rad, you didn't try. Oh, I tried. And I tried every which way. I try to buy her love. I try to take her out. I try to, just listen to her and so forth, and lay off the fatherly giving advice type thing. Well, anyhow, let's just where we're at now. I haven't spoken to her for over 15 months or 14 months. And I really don't. The last text that I had with her was last year at my son's graduation, and I told her I wasn't. I disagreed with some of the things she was doing in her life, and I never heard back from him. But I did tell her that at the time I loved her, and that enjoy your next chapter and so forth. And I never heard back from her, which is fine. And I was always under the impression in the last 10 years that I would go this route. That it is what it is, and I did not. I shut the door, but I did not lock the door. Does that make sense? I shut the door, but I did not lock the door. And this is what I'm saying. Jedi Dark Force, because how are you able to punish them or restrict in a healthy manner? I can't imagine myself. You can't. Yeah, you can't. It's not the 40s or 30s or 50s anymore. You can't discipline them. You'll be thrown in jail. So how do I deal with it? Here's one, and some people might not like this. If you've tried everything, if you try to be the father, if you've tried to be less, dictatorial, I guess, because fathers are dictators in a way. We set the rules, we lead. And if they don't like those rules, they'll call you a dictator. They'll call you a jerk, an a-hole, whatever. But those are rules set for the betterment and empowerment of the family to move forward, to pay the bills, to get to the next step in life. And so we have to lead. We can't be pushovers. Well, most mothers today don't want strong fathers because they can't push their agenda, which is what they want. And especially Gen Z mothers, they're all friends with their kids, all of them. They're best friends with their daughter. Oh, my BFF. Who's the mother in the classic picture? Who's the mother? Who's the daughter? So there's not a lot of motherly parenting going on versus where I grew up. My mom and my dad were my parents. They were not my friends ever. They're still not my friends. I don't want them to be my friends. They're my parents. There's a sign of respect that you have when you say, Dad, you're my dad. You're not my friend. Maybe when we're 80, different story. But you'll never stop disrespecting your father if you were raised in a strong mother and a strong father home. You might fight with him. Hell, I was scared of my dad. My dad was a big guy and he laid it down in Chinatown. I didn't like getting in on his bad side. So anyhow, how did I deal with going back? What do? You cut them off. This is the hardest cold truth that you must understand. If you have a toxic friend, a toxic family member, a toxic parent, brother, sister, or kids, you cut them off. If you've given them multiple chances, if you've said your piece, I love you, I do disagree with your lifestyle, you need, from my perspective as a father, this is the route you need to start living or you're going to struggle in life. If you've said your piece and you still get disrespect, you're still being told you're an a-hole, you're still being told this, you cut them off. You cut them off. I didn't say you quit loving them. You cut them off. Great topic. My relationship with my son is strained, tainted by my ex's crazy beliefs and attitudes. What can I do about it? Nothing. That's the cold hard truth, guys. You can only it's a long game. Eventually, now this is a great question, Pedro, because I'm going to share another story. My daughter swapped roles. Oldest was obedient, respected me. The youngest was a rebel. Now the oldest has a boyfriend and moved out of state for college. And the youngest is now my best friend. There you go, brother. Sometimes it split shifts like that, right? Radsky, absolute fact. Can't watch my friends being friends with their kids, too permissive. The destruction of our society is literally parents have been canceled. Fathers, fathering have been canceled. My oldest son is obedient, kind. Youngest is hell on wheels. Mom won't hold him accountable, considering washing my hands. That JW is so common, right? Again, Again, moms today are too scared. They want to be friends with their kids, unfortunately. And there are fathers that are weak too. Fathers, we're biologically wired different. Mothers are more nurturers. Now, I often think, what if my parents got divorced? I probably would have lived with my mom because my dad was tough. So I don't really feel bad that kids want to live with their nurturing, easy mother. It's hard to live with a tough dad. But in the end, the long game proves that if you live with a very leader-like fatherly figure that teaches you the things you need, you're going to be way ahead. But we don't see it as kids. And I don't think our kids see it as kids. How is the mom-daughter is extremely disturbing because the mom is always single, living the cougar life. Those posts are always a weird blank advertisement. Absolutely, Stephen. Who's the daughter? Who's the mom? Rusty's back. Good to see you, Rusty. Hope you are well. Timothy, I'm in California. Everyone is entitled, obnoxious, and ghetto. That hurts. Well said. Well said, Pedro. Father's back. He understands. Good to see you, Jared. Father understands what it's like to have alienated kids. He was just alienated from his kid's first day of school a couple days ago. And it stings. We understand it. But what do? We have to remember the long game. The long game is this. We continue in our quest for peace, quiet, and freedom, regardless of our kids. Now, my kids are all grown. It's a different world. They're all adults. They're not minors anymore. No longer am I dealing with the family courts. Now, a lot of you guys have younger kids. How do you deal with it? You be, as always, a father. You give them advice when they need it or might not need it. You pick them up when they fall down. But if they don't learn, sometimes they have to fall down and burn until you help them. Good to see Europe in the chat. Hope all is well. And it does hurt. Man, people ask, Rad, how do you deal with it? You know how I deal with it? Especially my middle boy came. We've really forged a good relationship the last 3-4 years. But he didn't want anything to do with his dad. He was mommy's favorite boy, his favorite kid. And that's fine. But you know what? I knew eventually I played the long game. I text him every now and again, and he's coming back and realizing that a father figure in his life is important. And but it takes patience. You just have to deal with it. Exactly what Father says. You need to just literally number one, you cut that toxic shit out of your life. You can't fix it. Shut the door. Don't lock it. That is my advice. When they come back and they ask forgiveness or they want a relationship, then you open the door. I do not believe in going after you've tried everything. I do not believe in trying to seek the validation of your children or a family member. That's just me. Roland's back. Ghetto culture is dumb and bad. Glorifying crime, drugs, illegal trash. Yeah, it is. Ghetto culture, all that shit's bad. When my parents divorced at 15, 16, I chose my dad. My other siblings chose my mom. Living with my dad was the best decision ever. Salty, old, highly decorated attaboy. See, very few, I think, boys at that point. It depends on the dynamic. Sounds like you had a great dad. My dad was a tough dad. And my mom was a lot more nurturing. Still mom, but very difficult in terms of, I probably would have stayed with my dad. Or my mom, excuse me. But that's great. I mean, look at what you got from being there. T-Tox in the house. They blocked your comment. No, idiots. Trying to fix things and an extension of trying to exert control, learn to let go. Most pain in life comes from attachment. Attaboy. And that's another thing. We got to detach from the outcomes. And that, it doesn't matter if the bloodline's upstream or downstream. If they're toxic, you got to cut them off. It's going to affect your health. It's going to affect everything about your life. It does glorify crime, violence, multiple baby mamas, obnoxious behavior. Yeah. Pushes them into red flag world. Red flag world that we talk about women, tattoos, piercings, body counts. It's so transparent now. They don't even care. That's the problem. They live the short game. We live the long game. The ex took my sons 20 years ago. I haven't seen or heard from them since. Sad, but true female nature. Oh, doggone it, Timothy. I'm sorry to hear that. Patience, my man. That's all I can say. Maybe they'll come back. Maybe they won't. Gone Fishing is back. Good to see you, brother. I'm here too. I've given all the opportunities I can. If my children don't want to be part of my life, that's on them. I did all I could do. Give, give, give. I'm done giving. And that's exactly where I was, Father, a few years back. I'm done. I got friends, just text them no. You've already done everything. They have to now make the move. The ball is in their court. And you can decide if you want to open the door. I heard an 8-year-old kid of my friend saying that kids can do this and that, but parents cannot do anything about it. Yeah, kids today, they know a lot. They know that if they just cry wolf, the popo will come. Sad world we live in. Same thing happens, man. I mean, we got Ed. If Ed's listening, he hasn't seen his kids for 20-something years. Pete in the UK has a challenging issue with his kids. A Hammerhand, I know one of his kids. Terrence Pop has had challenges with his kids. Coach Great Adams doesn't talk to his daughter. He's cut her out. I mean, I removed my daughter from all of my beneficiaries. She is no longer part of my will. She's not part of anything. I play hard game, guys. I'm done dealing with toxic people. I've tried everything. I've given more than I should. I'm done. The hardest thing for me was to learn that a coworker that said he was a friend was always a hater. I always laughed it off until I couldn't take it. He ended up turning others against me. Bio-shocking. Good to see you. It happens. Work environments. You trust no one. Or you make sure your trust meter is a very high expectation that very few people can meet. Nothing offensive or objectionable in it. I think my handle is marked for centrist. Man, T-Tox, I have grown 1 subscriber in like 6 weeks. Like, I've been shadow banned I don't give a damn though. You can't be a parent nowadays. Go ahead and try it. Tell me what works out. Being a parent is now a crime, a generation ashamed of nothing and offended by everything. Oh, laying it down to Chinatown, Jared. Absolutely. That is 100% right there. And he would know because he adopted 2 of his wife's kids and then had 3 or 4 on their own. He knows the game. You got to let you do you. Well said, brother. Is she using parental alienation to you? Forget your kids. Your kids are getting manipulated by your ex-wife. She will say all day to her kids, your father is a loser and he hates you. Absolutely. Now, here's a story. My neighbor, growing up, great guy. His name is Earl, redhead. Great family friends, neighbors. My parents are best friends with them. Gets married, has 2 kids. His wife worked for Nike. Very prominent position, career woman. He took over the family's business, Earl. Had 2 boys. She divorces him. The kids were 4 and 6 at the time. Completely alienates the whole family. Years go by. 15 years. The oldest just turned 22. He got back on his feet. Unfortunately, he's getting remarried, or he got remarried, which he didn't get the memo. I tried to help him at one point, but he quit taking my calls. Anyhow, good guy, but blue-pilled, needed someone to validate him. But he hadn't seen the kids, the boys. The grandparents had not seen the boys. They basically said he was a loser, all this crap. Well, the oldest turned 22 and started reaching out to his father after 17 years. He went to the wedding. I just heard it from my mom a couple weeks ago that he went to the wedding of his dad and new wife. The youngest is not talking to him, which makes sense. A lot of times the youngest is so coddled. Again, the mother raised these 2 boys, and it appears, as a single mother, and that's not good for the testosterone. That's not good for the leadership. Women cannot raise kids, boys especially. Women can raise, well, I don't want to say if they can raise girls or not. Some can, but they can't raise boys after puberty. I'm sorry. They need a strong father figure that knows how to swing an axe and cut down a tree. So the oldest has now returned and is now forging a relationship with his father, which I think is great. Is now a part of this new father's life. They're rebuilding, they're reconnecting. Again, it's going to be different because he missed out on everything. He missed out on the soccer games. He missed out on the graduations. He missed out on everything. He was alienated by everything. The kids had one nothing to do with him. He tried everything. So he just let it go. And him, apparently, according to my mother, that the oldest and him have now become very tight. The oldest is considering moving in with his father after 17 years of being told his father was a loser. So long game. Long game. Shut the door. Don't lock it. She is using parental alienation because she knows you love your kids and this is the only weapon used against you. How can she destroy you 100%? It's hard. Yeah, they use that as a weapon. Well said, Europe. Well said, brother. Great to hear your comments on how you guys deal with it. My middle son is the one I can't reach no matter what I try. My oldest and youngest are in my life. I also have zero contact with my adopted kids. There's nothing there, nothing left. Yeah, I mean, that's very common, Jared. If you think about it, a lot of kids, let's say if you have 3 to 5 kids, you're going to have half of them, if not 1/3 of them have a relationship. It's so weird. I know a guy that got divorced, 6 kids. Good to see Bookshelf in the chat. Betty's in the chat. He had 6 kids and half of them hated him and half of them liked him. He's like, I have no idea why. Could have been the ex-wife, the mother. Could have been, team mom, team dad. Who knows? My ex-wife threatened me a few days ago to talk to her lawyer to put me on child support, even though we have 50-50 for almost 2 years. Well, she needs someone to pay her bills, Betty. No surprise there. Good to see you. Roland says parents can be toxic, abusive too. 100%. My dad is such a narcissistic garbage. He always envies me. What a worthless dad, not a man. If I have a son, be proud of him surpassing me. And again, toxicity goes upstream and it goes downstream. If you have toxic parents, you cut them out too. Just because you're blood related and you have a genealogy you share doesn't mean you need to hang out with them if they're toxic. If it's causing you stress, mental anguish, emotional anguish, spiritual anguish, if it's causing you to progress, cut them out. This is the hardest thing one has to understand. There's no book you can read. There's no theme that you can come up with or some saying or text that you can send them. You cut them out. It's their move. You give them the opportunity. They don't take it. You remove yourself. Will's adventure. Her kids won't appreciate you because dating a single mom is already a sign of weakness to them. Well said. It tells them you have so little value as a man because already you couldn't find a better option. 100%, Will. That's terrific that you said that. I mean, another red flag of dating a single mom. She disrespects you because you're basically eating another man's lunch. You're eating another man's half-eaten lunch. That is respectful right there. Hit and quit a single mom, but don't get with them. The spearman is in the house. Good to see you, brother. Megatron says, blood isn't always thicker than water. Never forget that. Cut your losses whenever possible. Absolutely. And that's how you deal with it. The topic is how men should handle disrespectful, toxic kids and other people in your life. Cut them off. If you've given them enough chances, if you've tried, if you've laid your love and friendship and what you can do, accountability with them, and they're still like that, cut them the hell out of your life. You will not progress trying to get a narcissistic, and that's the dumbest word in the world, by the way, because every human being has a narcissistic quality about them. Me giving no fucks would say I'm narcissistic in a way. It's such an overused term, and let's just say disrespectful and toxicity, which a toxic person when you're around them because your energy is deflated. That's how you tell if they're toxic or disrespectful. Your energy, you don't like to be around them. You're walking on eggshells. You cringe just to be around them. That is a toxic person. Right? What you advise, though, to do, I send her text messages, never to contact me and drop the kids, and I'll drop them as per agreement. Never send me any text message, anything. I think put it all in email. You're going to have to be in the courts now, it sounds like. So I would document everything. If you have an attorney, I would have everything go through an attorney. Suzanne Fleming from Florida, good to see you. Suzanne's been around for a long time. I know she was pretty consistent with Wes's channel, 5 Years of Freedom, and a bunch of other channels. Good to have you. Appreciate you being here. He is eating trash, not a meal. You ate the cake 100%. Her next man is getting abusive and controlling tornadoes all the time. he will get her worst side from the beginning. Oh yeah. And that simp eventually will say, please, please don't do that. Oh, but these are the topics we deal with. Men that are going through this. We don't hate women. We understand that they have a different nature than us. How do we deal with it? You decide how you want to deal with it. You decide the risks and the rewards with the modern day female. 98% are not recommended. 1% to 2% are. My sister's one of them. Number two, how do you deal with toxic kids? You cannot fix kids after the age of 7. Apparently, we only have up to their age of 7 as they're moldable in our eyes. If you have a baby mama that is completely trash in how she raises the kids and has no rules, that's going to be difficult. But up to the age of 7 is our ability to mold children. That's it. Please. That's my new one, guys. I'm down on a bended knee. Give him some chung chung. There you go. Shane's World 76. Shane is a skater, I believe. Is that the same Shane? I think it's such a good feeling to accept reality, understand it's just nature. Just move on. Find happiness in yourself. In love, you never win, and degrees in which you lose in. Only degrees in which. Oh, well said, Shane. Appreciate you being here again. Yeah, you have to accept reality, and most men will try all they can because, again, men try. We want to take care of our children. We want to protect them, provide for them. But sometimes you just have to cut your losses. You got to remove it. That's my new one, please. I'm not a lawyer, but if I were, I wouldn't accept any mail from the little Title 40 agency. Accepting the mail is considered consent. Yeah, there you go. Betty, you might want to go to Coach Greg Adams' channel. He has a few videos on child support and how he was able to remove himself from that. There's another guy that talks about it on YouTube, but see what you can find. She only wants his money so he can pay all her bills, her nails, fake hair, and surgery. Yep. Well said, Europe. Okay, so Shane, that's you. I remember you sent me, you bought a deck, a new deck. Can't remember what deck it was. Corey O'Brien, maybe. Not only Red Pill gets shadow banned, comedy too. Woke crap is great, funny comedy. Yeah, all the comedy shows that I grew up with, Meatballs, Porky's, Police Academy, they probably Mel Brooks, Blazing Saddles, they'd all be canceled today. Single moms are a lose-lose in every measure. First, the issues with a single mom. If she has sons, good luck with that. Daughters are more receptive of male authority, but then potential allegations. Well said, brother. Not recommended. No dinners with old winches. Just save that money for old school skate decks. By the way, I just saw this guy. He had the original McGill with Powell, Rapones, and Indies, and he bought a new McGill, like a reissue. His original McGill he bought in like 86 is so mint. The damn thing's probably worth 10 grand. Protect and provide is just ingrained into every man. It's hard to break that, but I'm here to tell you it's possible. If you can learn how to let go, you're on the right path. It's hard as shit. Yeah. You know what? And you got to remember this. People say to me all the time, Rad, I feel so bad about it. Yeah, I don't feel bad about it. It's just the reality. I've gone through the stages of, in a way, she died. She's dead. I mean, unfortunately, she's head medicated. She's on multiple medications. She's red flags. Her mother doesn't, is her best friend. I mean, it's really, there's nothing I can do at this point. And it was difficult even when she was in high school dealing with her because I couldn't say anything because they would come on me like nobody's business. You abusive father, right in front of the kids. No, I want my daughter to clean her room before she goes out tonight. Take 5 minutes. I want her to fold her laundry that's sitting in the dryer that she said she would fold. I want her to put her dishes back in the kitchen so the ants don't walk all over the dishes and get all over the place. After 5 years max with him, she divorced his ass and gets on Tinder. Her profile say, I'm a single mother with 4 kids and got 2 baby daddies. If not 3 baby daddies and 3 cats. Please marry me, please. Is that what they're going to say, Europe? If you make the man of your present pay for the mistakes and traumas from the men of your past, you'll never have a future with that man. Truth. Truth. I like the Boondocks, Dave Chappelle show growing up. The Boondocks will not last a week with all the jokes. No, it won't. How about Living Color back in the day? How about Three's Company? How about Archie? Archie Bunker. Lots of shows back in the day would be canceled immediately today. What about the Good Times? They said the N-word on Good Times. Be canceled today. So I appreciate everybody in the chat. Living Color, absolutely. These are very difficult topics, and unfortunately, the only response is no one wants to hear. Now, no amount of counseling is going to bring back a toxic kid. Let's all go to family counseling and talk it out. Oh, really? Yeah. They're all going to gang up on you. It's stupid. I recently talked to a woman who said all men are pigs. I immediately blocked her. I'm not having that toxicity in my life ever again. Attaboy, freedom fighter. Good to hear you. Good to see you here. We're all pigs. That means we have a lot of bacon. And everybody loves bacon. Married with Children would be canceled immediately. Absolutely. Remember when he put the shoes on the fat woman? And Al says, Al Bundy's like, well, these shoes are scared to get on your feet. Oh, Al Bundy, he's got the best of YouTube. There's like 10 minutes of just classic Al Bundy, just slating women. In my blue pill days, I wanted a wife and children, but after waking up to the red pill and seeing the horrific reality of how families are torn apart, you dodged a bullet. Marvel Elite for 300, Trebek. You and Scotty and FJT and Timmy Kramer, who's 57 or 58, who Uncle Bill told him not to get married when he was 18, all dodged a bullet. Lots of you. And it's not the fact that it's not bad to think that you wanted to have a family and bring in a bloodline to teach your young boys and daughters how to tie knots and catch fish and clean cars and change oil and things like that. It's the fact that the modern day court system and the modern day government is not in your favor anymore. And in that the case, you will spend your life trying to keep your innocence, and they will take all of your money or the majority of it. And you will have nothing to show for it because you will be alienated to a custody schedule for the remainder of those kids' minor life. Good for you. You get the award today. Boondocks was right about a lot of things, Spearman. Steven, in one of my ex-wife's crazy episodes, she said she was punishing me for her past. Interesting. They take it out on the next guy, don't they? I can't imagine what the new simp is with the ex. Oh, I guarantee he's got a leash on him. My friend is going through divorce, lost access to his child, still wants to date me after my ex-girlfriend backstabbing. He was enough to see the nature and not chase them. There you go. Pedro says, no matter how sad I feel about my situation, you always manage to make me smile. Well, thanks for being here, brother. We all have difficult situations. We're all fighting our own battles. The battle could be alienation. It could be loneliness. It could be all sorts of things. But we're here to talk to men and say we can get through it. We have stories on this channel. Father Saunders in the chat today. One Fast Stack. People that have experienced the worst. I talk to men all the time. I've probably talked to 400 men in the last 5 years, either through email or phone calls. Their stories are not uncommon. They're not special. And I don't say that in a way that they're so pedestrian, those stories. They're the same. I was alienated. I had false alligators. I had the popo showed up. I've been told I was a loser, that I didn't provide anything. I mean, it's all the same story. Then there's no special to any of this. And this is not to take away from your challenge in life. It's to say that we are all the same, that we have a brotherhood, a camaraderie, a group of men that understand one another. Some just had it worse than others, whether it's financially, whether it's the kids they had to see. I mean, look at father, 800 plus days so he could see his kids. Guy's a war veteran. And they used it against him. And then when he did see his kids, he had to have some special Skittles be next to him, total libtard, watching his every move. And what was his crime? He was a father? This is the world we live in. Is she's back? Can you think of parents with more than 3 kids under 10 that have 0 autistic? No. That's another thing. There are so much autisticness going on. It's the weirdest. When I grew up, I had no idea what that word meant. There was no ADHD. There was no Asperger's. Or if it was very rare. Never heard it until I was in my 20s. Married with Children was both red and blue pill. Lots of red pill lessons, but the show really promotes the blue pill. Of course. The oppression is for all of us. Absolutely. So guess what? When you're feeling down, I'm going to try to say this as nice as I can, or as important as possible. When you're feeling down, you got to get yourself out of that, because every man in this chat has felt that way or is feeling that way. You're not special. I'm not special. We're normal. That's the difference. Father says it was hell. Yeah, how many days? 837 or something like that, brother? Women understand women. That's why they hate each other. Al Bundy. Ian Blades for 300 Trebek. Well said. She is not a single mother. They should call all single mothers family destroyers. She showed with her actions she can't hold a healthy relationship. She can't pair bond any more damaged goods. Well said. And they're going to get to that point where they say, please marry me. Please. Beard Friends is back. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, brother. Hope you are doing well. Hi, everyone. Good to see you around. I'm struggling with alienation. 3.5 years without knowing about my daughter. Stay strong. Pablo, good to see you. You are not alone. You are not alone. In the Quran and in the Bible, disrespecting parents is a major sin. Kids should respect their parents. Well, we talked about the divorce statistics that 65% of all Asian couples are married, with the lowest divorce rates because they believe in family. 834 days with no contact. 1,221 days before I got them without supervision. Tell me whose story is worse than that. Ian says, my mother says I'm special. She refused to give me back my blanks. She said she has pawned them. I don't believe her, but I'm not going to chase them. But I don't think she can afford a lawyer right now. Bam, Betty, I'm sorry you're in that situation. Just come to these chats to get some support. Manasseh's in the house. Good to see you, brother. I know I should put him on. Could you imagine you're sitting next to someone and the phone rings? Please! My ex-wife is using parental alienation for 5 years. I've never seen my daughter. Last week, my family told me she married a simp in Spain. It happens all the time, right? Radical Raptor's back. Simone's back. See, guys, we have guys in this chat right now who have not seen their kids. They understand what I'm talking about. And when they're younger, it's even worse because you're missing so much. When I'm down, use non-PC comedy podcasts to cheer me up, like Lemon Party and Hate Watch. They say the R and F word all the time, make fun of everything. Awesome to see people against woke. I don't know what you think about the Elon Musk thing, you know, if he's a psyop or he's an alien or whatever, but he definitely came out talking about the woke mind virus and how it's destroying everything because he's got a Skittles for a kid. Or a transformer. It's our fault for being nice to them. Again, Jordan Peterson, whether you hate him or not, says nice guys are agreeable and agreeable is weakness. So in the end, nice guys are weak. Good guys have nothing to do with being nice. A good guy says, you know what? Someone's stranded in the middle of the desert with no water. They probably made a horrible mistake. Whether it's a Karen with 3 cats and you have extra water, the humane thing would be to give that person water, regardless of what kind of Karen, what she did to her ex-husband. That's the good thing. A nice guy would want to be patted on the hat or the head by that person. Remember that. Nice and good do not mean the same thing. Went on 3 dates with the yoga instructor. She surprisingly is a closet conservative, but I think she's looking for a white knight. So sticking my wing would be a mess going to pull back. Attaboy. Well, you know what? There's no problem going out on a date with the girl, especially if you know what to look for. If anything, use it as a social experiment and just entertainment. But yeah, once you dip the winger into the sauce, they definitely begin to have feelings for you. I haven't seen my son in 2 years. I came to the conclusion that I could go to prison if she has a bad day. Sometimes you have to let go. Yeah. Why do you think so many men hightail it to Asia when they lose all? Why? They could say one thing and end up in a worse situation. Betty says, I'm relatively fine with my sons. I'm working on my elder son who's 10, but my 6-year-old is on my side. I think my elder son will be fine in the long run. Yeah, it usually happens. My youngest was always team dad. It wasn't, even when we lived as a family, he always loved being with dad, always on my shoulders, hanging out. And he's still like that. I mean, he's grown up now. He's got a life. But it's special to see, certain bonds. But if one thinks that all of the kids, I got a friend, he's like, oh yeah, they're all against the mother. And I'm like, no, they're not. They're still there. Unfortunately, even the bad mothers are still their mothers. And you have to respect the mother that birthed the kid. I mean, Slam Cave's baby mama has passed away, but he still respects that mother in front of the kid and honors her as the mother. It's the wife. It's what the wife and what she's allowed and taken from the father that is the issue. Nice guys are betas. Yes, they are. Well said, Mega. Well said. I believe in karma. She will get her karma by time for her evil actions. Be patient. I know it's very hard, but your ex wants to see you fail. They all want to see you fail. Well, yeah, sure. Most of these women, if you've been with them for 15, 20 years and you married them when in their 20s, they're upset that they gave some of their best years to you, or their best fertile body years. A 24-year-old is not a 43-year-old when it comes to body. The skin's got more wrinkly. They're not as firm and tight as they once were. And they're upset about it because they want to go back to that 24 and revisit it and not give their body away and go ride the salami subway. They do all have a season pass on the salami subway that they get for free from Simps. I have gone conservative more, grew up Democrat, but the woke and the economy mess and illegals coming in with free stuff, like Matthew said in Green Lights, the book. Oh yeah, that was a great book, by the way. Matthew McConaughey. Well, good. We're glad you woke up. Eventually, most men wake up because a real man realizes he builds things. He strives to be better. A weak man takes from others. A weak man cuts in line. We don't like those. We like men that are strong and build things and take accountability. That's a man. A weak liberal man is a victim. He takes from others. Bad mothers will always have their child's love in some way. I make it a point to talk about my ex respectively. Yeah, you did that. You said that on the other stream, Father. You said you've never said anything disrespectful or irresponsible in front of your kids. And I appreciated that comment because as men, oh, how much we would love to tell our kids what happened. But we don't, and we shouldn't. When we have issues, we talk with other men about our issues. We don't talk about it with their kids. Slam says, good to see you, Slam. Walk away from disrespectful people, period. 100%, brother. Good to see you. The best revenge is not hate. Show her indifference. Indifference makes the difference. Indifference says you don't give a damn if she lives or dies. Hate is the opposite of love, guys. It's the same frequency. So if you hate someone, you love them. Indifference is the opposite of love. My ex said she gave me the best years of her life. Can you believe that shit? She already had kids and was 28. The man who had you when you were younger. Yeah, the best years were 18 to 23, body years. You might have got the tail end of some of those good years. But yeah, I think the first guy, the first baby daddy, probably got her best body because, 18 to 23 is apparently the best, most fertile, tight years of everything. If you act up and get aggressive because of your kids, that's what she wants you to respond. She wants you to tell her, quit alienating me from my kids. She wants you to say that, but you will not say that. You will not say that. She wants you to say, I wish my kids would talk to me. You will not say that. You'll be a father. You will be a man of strength. And when you feel down, you come to these chats and you say, I haven't heard from my kids. I feel sad. Of course you feel sad. Any man that says he doesn't feel sad is an idiot. We feel sad, but we will also accept reality. And reality says, well, I can't do anything about this. My lawyer tried. The government won't help. The courts hate us. We're going to play the long game. Hopefully someday that boy that's 6 years old will come back and reach out and try to find out who his father is after the 15, 17 years of the mother bad-mouthing him. It's not good for women or mothers to badmouth their kids. And it's not good for fathers to badmouth the wives. Or excuse me, not good for mothers to badmouth the fathers. And it's not good for fathers to badmouth the mothers. But more times than not, mothers will badmouth their fathers. That always ends up biting them in the ass. What I don't understand is why are speaking about them respectively? Why not just tell them the truth? Well, I think just the indifference is telling them the truth. I don't take any text messages. I don't call. I don't hear anything from the ex. I will not respond. We are out of the system. Unless my son is in the intensive care unit or dead, there's no reason to talk to her. I just ignore it. Indifference. Silence speaks more than telling them the truth, Spearman. She wants to get you in jail. Accept it and move on. Lots do. I'm scared of my ex-wife, honestly. That's why I've decided to block her from. You know what? I don't think that's wrong to be. There was a time when I feared what she could say or do because how much leverage they have in the courts. Absolutely. Hide behind your attorney and let him handle your battles. Hopefully you got a good one. Father says, we all know this, but the woman you married is not the woman you effing divorce or get divorced by. That is now your effing enemy. Absolutely. I thought I knew my ex-wife. And then I met the real one. My ex-wife died. But whoever took over her body is an enemy. Well, I wouldn't call her an enemy. I just don't deal with her. She's not real. She's fake. I educate when the opportunities reveal themselves in real time, if that makes sense. Sure. So the cold hard truth is this. You cut off everybody that's toxic. You be like the men of the old. They did not voice their dirty laundry to their wives or their kids. They did not voice their concerns and, feelings, I guess, or how they felt. They talked with other men. If they ever talked with other men. The only man that can understand you is another man going through exactly what you're going through. This is why I did the channel. This is why I started it. Wasn't to make money. That's stupid. No money in Red Pill. It wasn't to get super chats. That's stupid too. For me. I wanted the message to be raw and authentic and experience that men can come from all over the world and share exactly what I went through or what they were going through. And then we can help. Nothing else, nothing more. And I think most of the channels that we have on here, the guys that are in it understand that. Now, if you want to send a donation, I have no problem with that to other guys. I just don't do it. That's just not me, and that's okay. Eventually, we'll all meet up and you can buy me a beer. Or I'll buy you a beer. John Markel's back. Don't handle them at all. They're not your kids. This is the reason I don't help femtards and their kids. Welcome to equality. John Markel laying it down in Chinatown. Even when you end a relationship, the woman is a different person. Of course. I think men are not realizing what they're playing with. Like you said, there's too much leverage in courts and police stations. Only way to win is not to play. Yes, and fortunately and unfortunately, you have a long ways to go with your boys. But fortunately, you get to see them and hopefully mold them in their ways of living. Teach them when you're with your boys, women are cold creatures, teach them how to make knots, tie knots. Teach them how to use a pocket knife. Teach them how to make a hammock in the forest. Go fishing. Teach them how to change the oil, even if they can hold the wrench at 6 years old. Do those things, man things. They'll remember them. A marriage is the main reason for divorce, said Jerron Markel. Well said, brother. The message has helped me be a stronger as a man and a father. Yeah. Guys, I went through, I had my creators in my life, and a lot of you guys, I watch you as well in terms of, I learned from everyone, young and old as well. It keeps me on equal level, solid ground. Girlfriends changed too. My ex was homeless, helped later. She became a snake that stole from me when I got off the streets. Yes. Just female nature, 98% are not recommended. We have to learn though. NES systems for 300 Trebek. There's too many nuts in the family tree anyways. Family. Oh, you know what the greatest thing about not being married is? Dealing with those in-laws. Oh, couldn't stand them. Femtards and kids are a liability and expense to all men. Yeah, a lot of women are feminists because it's hive mind, they're all against the man. That's why Heels Up Harris right now seems to have a little boost. She's got all these feminists and cat ladies. Oh, women can run everything better. Okay, let's see how that works out. Mm-hmm. Let's see how that works out. I wonder how the leader of Russia or the leader of China is thinking right now if Heels Up gets in. I believe what Trump says, man. It's the end of the world if someone else leads the country that's not a strong man like him. And rest assured, the U.S. election will impact the whole world. Women's main goal is to survive. They don't care who gets in the way. Radical Rafter, laying it down to Chinatown. I can't stand and never could stand my in-laws. What a bunch of a-holes. You can't stand them. There's movies about in-laws that hate each other. Jerron Markel, toxic kids would never exist if the femtard didn't chase the father out of the home. This all started in the destitute black community. Jerron Markel, did you ever watch Good Times? Because they said the N-word all the time. And the Bensons. Rad, the teens that come through this triage are like zombies with gadgets. And Ishi would know. He deals with pediatric kids as a nurse. What are the parents like, Ishi? Are they Skittles? These kids today are not strong kids. Very few of them. We are doomed. Although a lot of the boys now, my two boys are very conservative on their own. Grew up with a libtard mother. Well, she turned libtard and a libtard daughter. But they are very conservative. And they're doing it all on purpose. The Democrats are doing this all. Yes, they're gaslighting everybody. The Olympics was a joke. The feminists supporting transformers just to get the best by cheating against the... Yeah. It's all... professional sports is a joke now. See you later, Pedro. Take care, brother. If a kid comes in with thoughts of harming themselves, they skip the line, and I'm in the belly of the beast. I see it. Jeez. Healthcare has just become a shit show, man. And most surgeons and doctors are all libs anyways. But yet they all want their money. Interesting how that works. I did watch Good Times, but I didn't like Benson's. I like James from Good Times. That's the fathers that was needed. Yeah, there you go. Dynamite. He was funny. It was funny. Dynamite. So the kids that want to live and have real issues sit and wait for hours. Of course, they get the Transformers and the wackos get to the front of the line. How many furries have come in while you were on shift, Ishi? That would be interesting to know. But that's another thing. What if you try to steer your family? There's multiple stories and headlines about men who lose custody because the woman or the mother is pushing the child into transformation, and they can't do anything about it. And the Texas judge ruled for the woman, that the woman could help a 4-year-old kid become something that he was not born as. Just, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. I was watching Martin Armstrong. If anybody watches him, economist for the last 40 years, got great stuff. And he was talking about, he's got these predictable analytics. He's got a computer called Socrates that has basically called pretty much every recession, depression, stock market failure, elections, you name it, and like based on crazy predictive analytics, if you know what that is. It's kind of an AI type deal. And he talked about that 2032 is the end of everything. That is literally the crumbling of our society. And it's not like doom and gloom. It's the fact that after 250 years, societies crumble. They go the way of Rome, which went Skittles, which went Libtar, which weak overcame the strong, because the strong wouldn't do anything about it. Damn right, those furries, Father. What the F are we talking about here? So that's the reality. I mean, we deal with a world of ultra delusion. Idiocracy would make our modern day world look like a swamp. I can't believe we are where we are in current day society. I'd have told you that we were insane if you told me back in the day we would be here. When I grew up, if there was someone that was changing their clothes to take on another person's clothing style, maybe a dress, they would be in a mental institution. Now it's normal. Now, if you don't go that way, something's weird. Why should men help kids or their mothers that hate men? And if she doesn't hate men, she never spoke about the BS that is feminazism. They kept quiet because it'll benefit. Yeah, sure. You can't, as a man, you can't stand that. If I put a video up there that said this is totally wrong, this woke world, Transformers are wrong, that's a mental illness, who would be at my doorstep? My accounts would be shut off. I'd be fined multiple things. Censorship is huge. Censorship is huge. Huge. Guys, it's been a great stream. This is a stream to help men overcome certain challenges, or to look at them in a different way, and to play the long game. That's all we got. The short game, and to try to fix things, is impossible most of the time, especially if you're dealing with family court. You have to look at the long game. You have to look at the patients, and you have to cut the people out of your life that are toxic. Really do. Whether that's upstream with your parents or downstream with your kids, or side stream with all your friends and coworkers, even good friends, right? Even the biological fathers can't discipline the kids the way they want to. Well said. I mean, my dad had a belt and a stick, and he used it. But we all turned out great. You guys stay safe out there. Appreciate y'all being here. Thanks again. We'll see you on the next one. And catch all the streams. Father streams. Slam does stuff. Check all the channels out that we talk about. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm out. Peace.